Hi everyone, welcome to Track Talk. Today we're talking about Xscape, Michael Jackson's new album.
So, Xscape, as they like to pronounce it, is the second posthumous album by the late great Michael Jackson. L.A. Reid was the main, I guess, man in charge of putting this project together. Basically, my opinion on the whole album, I mean, the whole record, like the whole Sony Records label, they just wanted more money from Mr. Michael, so that's the only probably the downside from this whole thing. I mean, as a big fan, I always look forward to hearing new music from him, even though it's not even new. Most of the stuff is from like the 80s to 90s, so yeah. And I don't know, from my whole take on it, I really liked the blending of like having, because I got the deluxe version that has first 8 are the remixes or the contemporary, as I like to call them, and the other 8 are the originals. So I think maybe the lead single "Love Never Felt So Good" that was probably one of the stronger songs on the whole project for me. But you know, I don't know, Jared, what do you think?
Well, in all honesty, I'm not saying it's a bad album, because it's not. You can never go wrong with Michael Jackson, right? But, like you said, they're just trying to make money, right? I think that's wrong, first of all, okay? I'm all for listening to new Michael Jackson stuff, or old Michael Jackson stuff, whatever you're talking about, right? But I feel like that's not him. That's not his mind that's making that music. He did that music, he didn't release it for a reason, because he didn't feel that it was up to his standards. It wasn't Michael Jackson's standards, the king of pop, right? And now they're taking that music and they're kind of giving their own twist to it, right? And it's younger guys, well, not necessarily younger guys, but L.A. Reid's not younger, but he, well, Timberland is younger, right?
Yeah.
They're just, it's their idea, and they're not the king of pop. Am I right or am I wrong?
Absolutely.
They don't have the same mind. They don't work the same way. He was very special, and I just feel like they're releasing something in his name, and it's not his music. So, to me, I'm not saying it's a bad album, but it's just not really up to Michael's standards, and I don't agree with them always releasing these posthumous albums.
Yeah. I agree with what Mr. Jared said. The only thing, I like the new versions, but like Jared said, it's not something that MJ would put out, and it shows because they even added some of like his, you know, when he beatboxes and stuff in his tracks. Like even in some of the originals, you can hear that it's not even in there for the contemporary versions. So they obviously tried to, I wouldn't say it's overproduced, but they did stuff.
I actually might say it's overproduced.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's too much of their influence on his music. Personally, that's what I think. I'll give you just a little example if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
The song "A Place with No Name," it's taken from the song "A Horse with No Name," right?
It's true.
And which is a great song, by the way. Who knows? Maybe in future we might talk about it. But all that was, I think, obviously I'm just speculating, but Michael Jackson probably was one day in the studio and he probably loved that song, so it's a great song in that time. And I feel like he probably just wanted to kind of do something with that song, maybe make it his own or whatever, and he was just fooling around. And he's that talented that he can make a song just by fooling around. And the lyrics in the song are really just, I'm sorry, but they're not really that great. I mean, you can tell that's why he didn't release it, because it's the lyrics, it's,
Pretty
he
mediocre.
changed a little bit of the tune, just slightly, right? And it's just not, it's not him. It's not Michael. He was just probably fooling around one day, and then they decide that they're gonna take his music, his recording that he did that day or whatever, and put it on an album in his name. And that bothers me. Just being honest. What else do you think about the album?
Well, to sum up the album for me, it's a lot better than the previous one that they tried to push.
I do agree with that.
Michael, for me, I feel that was really rushed, that album. I felt like the death was still really
It was
fresh.
made very soon after.
Yeah. And they even made 2 music videos they got Akon to be on, because he was featured for the Hold My Hand song. That song was pretty good, but
Yeah, I enjoyed that song, but if you think about it right now, are you still listening to that song?
no.
I haven't heard it in a long time, and I don't really plan on listening to it anytime unless it comes up on my iPod or something.
Yeah.
It's not like Michael's music will live on forever, but like songs like that or whatever, that's not gonna do it. Like I already don't listen to it, so. And this album, I bet you in a few months nobody's gonna really care. I mean, the diehard fans might care, and I want to be clear. I'm not just because Michael to me is definitely one of my favorite artists of all time. There's no denying that. He's unbelievable. So I'm not saying it's like he is bad. I'm saying that these Posthumous albums are just not up to par.
Yeah. So, out of 10, what would you rate that album?
After listening to it a little bit, especially last night, I would probably go with, if we're going with Michael's standards, it's down at a 5, maybe.
And for today's standards, what would you say? Like
Compared to other artists?
right now, what would you give it?
In that genre, I would probably have to say like maybe a 6 max.
Really? Okay.
Maybe a 7, but that's really pushing it, I think.
Okay.
But that's my opinion, you know.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think, compared to Michael's stuff, how does this rate?
Well, for Michael's standards, I even think for him, he probably wouldn't even give it a 6, because he probably wouldn't have put this out.
He would never put it out. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like, that's why.
it's been locked in his vault for so many years. But, yeah, I think a 5 is fair for Michael's standards.
Because you don't want to go too low, 'cause it's still Michael.
Yeah, exactly. But for today's music, I would give it at least a 6, maybe a 7.
Yeah, see, so
Yeah.
about the same, it's the same thing.
Because this
yeah.
is a lot better than the last one.
For
so
sure, but
I have
still,
to at least make it passable, because it's listened to, I can still listen to it, I think, in maybe a year's time. There's still some songs there I think that are, especially like Love Never Felt So Good, it's kind of like a throwback to Off the Wall.
Never felt so good.
There you go. So, yeah. So a 5 out of 10 for MJ's standards, and it's a pass for today's standards, I guess. So, that's that.
Sounds about good. We'd like to know what you guys think. Give us your opinions on how you would rate it, Michael's standards and today's standards. And hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah, give it a thumbs up if you like it, comment, do whatever you need to do, and subscribe if you want to see more of us.
So, we discussed it, and I am going to be choosing from my iPod on shuffle the next song, the next artist for next week. So, here we go.
Shuffle.
Shuffling. Train. Drops of Jupiter.
Any Train fans? Well, you better watch the next video.
That should be exciting. Not a bad band. next time on Track Talk.